Right now, you are currently the before. Who is the girl afterwards? Envision yourself with all of these goals implemented. Are they biblical? How strong is the why? And is it even biblical to set goals in the first place? If you clicked on this video, congratulations. Welcome to the corner of YouTube where we encourage ourselves in our productivity journey with Christ by our side. I'm just gonna go straight to it. Here are some areas in your life where you can set goals. All of this is in a specific order. Relationship with God, relationship with family and friends, personal finances, career and school, and then your physical health. And it doesn't mean that they should all be in that certain priority. It just means that if you start to prioritize all those other things first, everything else will come too. I got a chocolate cold brew to wake me up today. Before I get into the nitty-gritty, make sure that all of your goals are biblical. Also, making goals that are necessarily like out of your control, like getting a job promotion or finding a spouse in your life, whatever the case may be, that's fine. But just make sure that all your goals are not things that you can't do except pray. You want to make sure that you're actively doing something about it. Okay, first off, relationship with God. I feel like I've personally struggled through this. Everybody that I know that is a Christian struggles through this. There are going to be moments where you want to curse God, but setting goals to get closer to God is something that's super important. I'm going to put a couple things here of things that you can ask yourself when setting goals for 2024. What do you want your relationship with God to be? What is preventing you from doing that? Is it pride? Is it lack of priority? Is there something in your life right now that is more important than God that other people can notice from you? How do you want to fix that? Do you want to actually fix it? Be honest with yourself. So when setting goals, here are some elements that you can actually change to get closer to God. Amount of time in the Word, amount of time praying, amount of time worshiping, amount of time serving, and amount of time fellowshipping. The idea of all of this is just time. You're gonna need more time with God, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to separate an entire hour or 2 hours in your day to be with God. I get it. We can't spend 3-4 hours in the Bible. It's just like not practical. I understand that we're all super extremely busy, but that's the beauty of the relationship with God. The relationship with God is actually the journey of your entire day and your entire life over and over with Jesus, which means that you can worship while you're working out. You can pray in the shower. You can wake up just a little bit earlier to read a little bit more of your Bible in the morning. You can fellowship with people on the weekends and just separate that time. Whatever the Spirit is convicting you, just really sit down with God and pray about it and see where God is telling you and convicting you of what you need to change, rather than just putting goals in your 2024 vision board that's going to be things that you personally want to do in your life. You have to include God's will in it as well. Relationships with family and friends. Is there a specific relationship that you need to rekindle with your friend or with a family member? Maybe God is tugging at your heart lately to try to end a relationship that's causing you to sin. Matthew 5:30 says, "And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better than you lose one of your members than your whole body go into hell." So we're gonna have friends that are unbelievers. I don't think it's inherently wrong. We should give the aroma of Christ. Like it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15, that is our role. We should always model Christ in everything. But if there's a specific relationship, whether it's an unbeliever or it's somebody who's a Christian, that they're causing you to sin, that they're bringing you and tempting you into sinning, that is a perfectly good reason to cut that person off. So maybe God is calling you for that, and just pray about it. Personal finances, just pray and pray about this, because I feel like this is something that really tears a lot of relationships apart, and that includes the relationship with you and God. But that's really your prerogative, what you think is best for you and that moment. But I think the biggest theme throughout this entire video is just making sure that everything that you do is that you pray about it, and even if it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to, don't try to force the door open. Like, God has it closed for a specific reason, and if you force the door open, there are gonna be consequences and you're gonna regret it. I'm saying this because I've personally gone through a lot of things I could have saved so much time and so much energy, and I didn't do them. I didn't listen. I was stubborn about it, and I realized like 2-3 months later, it can take a while, realized that like, wow, I could have saved myself so much energy, so much focus if I just listened to what God told me to do. So here's some things that you can set goals for in your career and in your school era. What college do you want to go to? Do you want to get a promotion at your job? What specific job are you actually looking for? Your grades in school, or just better time management? Just have a lot of patience. When I was in college, I had a lot of goals that were like, oh, you need to have this specific grade point average so that I can feel successful. And then once I got there, I was like, okay, I did it, I succeeded, but I didn't really have a lot of patience. I wanted to get there quicker. I didn't feel like I was getting to a point where I never felt fully satisfied because I was always downgrading everything. So pray about it and see, especially if it comes to big career and like school changes. like what college you want to go to, or like a big job promotion or a big job that you want to get. See if that's where God is leading you, and then set that goal for yourself. So your physical health, you need to take care of your temple. This is so important. Some things that you can put for goals is to change your workout routine, or just really focus on cardio, or really focus on weight training, or just spending a little bit more time and finding more affordable, like cleaner foods to eat for your diet. I know that it's super expensive to eat extremely healthy, and just take time to rest your body. There is a Sabbath day for resting, so just take like an hour or two on a Saturday or Sunday and just relax for the week. It is the temple that God gave you, so really just cherish it. So those are some things that you can set goals, but I really want to focus on how to execute them and like how to really write them down and see them in a physical way. You need to have them written out or put in some sort of board, so that leads me to a prayer board. We're not going to do a vision board in this channel. We're going to do a prayer board, because God has the vision, you have the prayer. You're going to pray about the things that you want, and God is going to give you visions, is going to give you provision, and then you're going to be the one who is going to be able to go after them and actually get them done. You can have a list of prayers that you're going through in the moment, but having a prayer board needs to be visible. You need like a visual stimulus to see all of your goals played out. And I did a little prayer board, so we're going to go to that section of the video. This is a little picture board right behind my door, and I want to turn it into a prayer board. I have a bunch of pictures here from like previous years. Every like 6 months or so, or every year, I like kind of like change the pictures, but I haven't been keeping it up to date lately, so I just want to get rid of this and start putting a prayer board, so I have that right behind my door all day every day. The idea is to do something with scriptures and then just the personal prayers from like people in my life and from myself. I want the word of the year to be on there so that I can have like a greater scope of everything, and then maybe like some pictures for inspiration, like something aesthetic. I don't know, I don't want to worry too much about the aesthetic. I want it to be somewhat of a functional prayer board, so I don't want there to be too many pretty things that I can't move around. I just want it to be functional. So that's the goal for today. So let's do it. So what I'm doing right now is going on Canva, and I'm trying to find like little stickers or something like put as like decorative pieces around the prayer board. I have different slides for like the different types of verses that I want to write, so I just picked like a random design, and I'm gonna put like whatever verses that I want. I made like a PowerPoint presentation, and then I just grabbed like these little pieces that I liked and kind of just made it cute, and I put like the conclusion as like the verse that I'm gonna write. So I just finished the prayer board, and I did a little short about this, so I'll leave it in the eye right here so you guys can watch kind of like the shorter version of this segment of the video. But here's the prayer board. So the idea was to do like 5 different little key elements within the prayer board. So the first thing is the scriptures that are all around the entire board, and then I have like these white flashcards which are actual prayers that I'm gonna write down, and then I can like cross them out when they're actually answered, and I can see everything that God has done. And then I have the different images of like aesthetic things that I found that are applicable to the actual prayers that I put on the board. So I have like the 500,000 subscribers, I have a couple film stuff for acting, and then I have like a Bible and like some doves in there. And then the main thing that I have is the word of the year, which I picked Behold this year. I heard that in a sermon the other day, and I feel like it was the perfect word for this next coming year. And then right here in the corner, I put some things to keep in mind, like some bullet points of things that I don't want to forget throughout the year. And yeah, I just wanted to have something that I can switch out and that can move around a lot, and it came out so cute. I love all the little cutouts. It's like a little arts and craft project, so this is getting me excited for the new year. I want to take a moment and kind of talk about prayer lists, because I think that there's a very big difference between prayer boards and a prayer list. Some people like to divide it. I like to divide it because I like to see like the bigger goals on the prayer board and then have like a smaller list of prayers that I'm currently working on. So this can include like certain prayers that are preventing you from reaching your bigger prayer goals, or prayers from other people that you just want to pray about that you heard from church or whatever, and just like kind of have that as like just a separate little list. But like I said, people like to divide it. You can have like a prayer board and then have like the bigger goals on the prayer board, and then have like the smaller current prayers in the season that you're going through like on your phone. Some people have it like on a sticky note, like in front of their computer. You can have it like on your notes app on your phone. I've seen some people put it on their lock screen, so that I think that's such a great idea. They can see it like every day, and they can have like a certain like, okay, I know I have to pray about this. This is something that I'm going through, and just have it on the lock screen of their phone. This also fits into the category of people who like to journal their prayers. I personally don't like to do this. I'm more of an auditory person. Like I really like to hear things. I feel like I learn more by hearing them. I'm very much like a visual person, so I like to have the prayer board so I can see the prayers. So yeah, whether you do the prayer board or the prayer list or have both, I think it's really important to have something visual so that you can see like the final result. I feel like when you see everything that God has done, it really motivates you and allows you to get closer to God, because I feel like we all forget what God has done for us. Recently I was doing like a yearly recap video, and I really thought that like, wow, like God is moving so slow sometimes. Like I feel like I didn't get this or I didn't get that, and then I look back at all of the videos. I'm like, yeah, I did go there this year. I did do that this year. I did do that. Like I did so many things that I forget all the blessings that God has given me. So I feel like it's the same thing with prayers. Like if you don't write them down or like have them in a sticky note or have them like documented somewhere, I feel like if you don't do that, you're gonna forget like all the blessings, and you think that God is moving slow, but actually you look back at all the answered prayers and you're like, oh yeah, God has really answered a lot. So I kind of want to talk about executing your goals, because everything here that I've said so far is about like documenting them and how to set the goals and know what goals to set, but I kind of want to go more specifically on how to execute them. And obviously I can't go into detail because every prayer is completely different and it all depends on your life, but I think a big thing that you have to do, always be in communion with God. Invite him into every aspect of your life. And this all goes back to the beginning of this video where I talked about time specifically. More time in worship, more time in prayer, more time in fellowship. If you haven't found a church near you, I totally recommend you do. It can be very hard to find a church, and I could make a little short about explaining how to find the right church, but that's a complete different conversation. But making sure you have like a community of Christian people that can pour into you. God created people to not be alone. You have to be talking to people, holding each other accountable, whether it's like a group chat of like Christian girls that you love, or a church group chat, or like a young adults group chat, whatever the case may be, making sure that you are in communion and in fellowship with other people keeping you accountable. This will help you execute your goals for this year. I totally believe in you. I know you can do it. Now, setting all of that aside, the main ingredient of executing your goals is not just praying about it and being in communion with God. It is just believing that it's gonna happen. You have to believe that all of the prayers that you wrote down will happen. If you don't put in your mindset that, oh no, this is not gonna happen, or you let the enemy get in your head, no, actually, like I was gonna do this, this was part of my prayer, but see, like it failed, or like I did it for 2 weeks and it's not working, or you lose patience. Like God is the God of patience. It's part of the fruits of the Spirit. So make sure that you just have patience, that you're able to have self-control and really just concentrate on your prayers and go after them. God is not going to give you answered prayers if you give up after 2 weeks, if you give up after 2 months. Some prayers will be answered quickly, and that's great, but you can't just give up, because if you do that, you're not actually believing in the prayers that you set for yourself. You have to believe that they will come true. And if they don't happen this year, they'll happen next year, or maybe they'll happen in a way that you completely don't expect. That has happened to me a lot of the time, where I do prayers and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is gonna happen this way and this is gonna happen that way. I'm gonna put it in my prayer list. And then I put it in my prayer list, and then it happens but completely differently through another person that I never expected, or through like another event. Like just expect anything, because God has so many things to coordinate on his own to let everybody's prayers be answered. He wants you to get your prayers answered if it's biblical. Don't let impatience overcome you, and have self-control and just be dedicated, because that's the only thing he really asks for. He asks for your cooperation, your heart, your belief. You have to believe and it'll come true. Maybe not the way that you want, maybe not exactly how you wanted it, and he's gonna knock on your door and you have to actually answer it. He's not gonna force his way in. You have to let him into your heart. Probably one of the most important things when you're trying to execute your goals this year. Something that I wanted to talk about that I touched on earlier in the video, but I want to go more into detail this time, is if you set a goal, like if you're watching this video in February, don't think it's too late to set goals, or in March, or whatever the case may be. If you're watching this video already at the end of this year, like in December, and you're trying to set goals for next year, don't think that you have to wait till New Year's to actually start applying your goals, especially if it's sinful. Like, I don't think it's God's will to continue to let you sin. Like, this is part of my prayer, but I'm gonna keep sinning until like New Year's hits, and then I'll stop. God wants you to start now. Like, I think it's also sinful to hold back in God's blessings for you. And if you want to start doing the prayers now, like if you want to start your New Year's resolutions now, like do it now. Like, God's gonna respect whatever decision that you make, but I think it's really, really important to just allow yourself to get into that blessing as soon as you can, especially if it's hurting others and yourself. Things like time management or like drinking more water, things like that, start that on New Year's if you want to, but I highly consider you think about starting earlier if you can. Another quick little side note is to make sure that you're doing this not because you want to impress others, but because you want to grow in God and your relationship with God and your will with God in your life. In all reality, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care if you drink more water or you have more time management. Ultimately, whoever it affects is you the most, or the people in your immediate circle. Because if you're trying to do it to impress others, that's not a real foundation, and it's gonna fail instantly. Like, we fail as human beings all of the time, but God never fails. If you put your trust in God and you just put your standards to that level, it's going to be way easier to achieve your goals because you have someone like God to hold you accountable and other people in your surroundings to keep you accountable. The moment that you lose interest in that person, or that person is no longer someone really, really important in your life, you're not going to want to impress them anymore, and you're slowly going to want to start just like veering off of your prayer list. So make sure that your foundation is based in Jesus and not in other people. We all have a void to want to be validated by others, and I completely understand that, but God also knows that that is natural, and the reason why that's there is because it's supposed to be filled by God and by nobody else. Because people will fail you, you will fail yourself, but God will never fail you, and you have to hold all of your validation on Jesus, because that's who it's supposed to be. That's why that hole is there, that God-shaped hole, as people say. Like, you're thirsty, you drink water, you're hungry, you just eat. But that spiritual hunger that you have, it can only be filled by God, and that's why he exists, to fill that void and to help us, because he created us to be with him in communion forever. And if you want to be in that, you just have to accept that. He's not going to make you accept it. You have to do it yourself. It all starts in believing and wanting to execute your goals and your prayers as well. So anyway, I believe in you, girl. I know that everything is going to turn out amazing, and you just put in your prayers and you just have patience and you have self-control. You just believe in God and everything will turn out amazing. As this holiday season is coming to an end, I did a little video of me preparing for Christmas, so I'll leave it right here so you guys can click on it. I decorate my Christmas tree and I decorate the house, and it's just so much fun. So if you want to click on here, go ahead. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like this video because that's how you let me know. Subscribe for more videos like these and hit the little bell notification right next to the subscribe button so that you get notified every single time that I post. God bless you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.